Hello. Today I installed this aftermarket tachometer on my Honda Shadow Aero, and I just finished doing all the wiring, which I'll show you in a second, but I just wanted to show you that it works and it's lit, the light works, and the tach works. So now I'll show you the wiring. The first thing I'd had to do is, after I installed the tach on the handlebars, is these wires here come down here, and I had to make a harness, a 4-wire harness with just 4 wires and some electrical tape, similar to this one. This isn't the actual one. Then I had to take off the gas tank. I didn't take it all the way off, but I ran the harness underneath through here, behind this piece of fairing right here, underneath the gas tank, and it came out over here, and I zip tied it to a cable that runs from the instrument lights over into here. Now the hardest part was tapping into the existing wires. So this tap right here, this little blue plastic thing, is a tap. I got these at Walmart, and you can tap into an existing line and add a line. So this is my wire here that goes to one side of the coil, the negative side of the coil. This is the coil. Then I had to tap into the ignition, power on side of the fuse block, which is this red wire. And the other tap I made for the lights is right here. I tapped into the brown wire that goes to the meter box that feeds the lights. And then the last tap, it wasn't a tap, but what I had to do is put a ground here. So underneath this nut right here, bolt rather, there's a ground right there. I put this ground wire right here that runs up into here. And so it's 4 wires. One goes to ground, one goes to the negative side of the coil, and that's the senses the pulse frequency. The other tap has to go to the key on, ignition side, and this tap right here is the lights. So that's it, and it seems to work. So now I know what RPM my engine's running. Cool. Hello, I'm back. I put the seat back on and the 2 side panels. One thing I didn't tell is, how do I know where all those connections go? And the answer to that is, if you have a bike that you're serious about, you got to get the service manual. So this Honda Shadow, I bought a service manual from they had an extra one down at the dealer, so I bought it. But anyway, this tachometer comes with this piece of paper. That's it. And it's a schematic that shows how to connect it. So it shows you the 4 wires by color code and where they go. So after you know what how the tachometer is supposed to be wired, then you go into the manual and find out where all the components are. So in other words, the coil, ignition switch, etc., etc., rear ignition coil. And then after that, then what you have to do is go to the wiring diagram for the bike, and here's the fuse block, and you follow those different wires by color code, and that's how you know which ones you want to tap into. So that's the way you do it. This is minimal at best. This is all that comes with this tach. So it was a pretty cheap tach, cost $65 on Amazon, and I can't remember the brand, but they make a bunch of different kinds of instruments. But what's cool about it is the lights come on, and it shows RPM. I've never known what RPM I was doing on this bike, because the Aero doesn't come with a tach. So now I'm going to go out and ride it and figure it out. I'm kind of thinking that 4,000 RPM is about 70 miles an hour in 5th gear. And I would be shifting between 3,000 and 4,000. And the way it looks now, it's idling at about 1100, which is perfect. Adios.